All right, hello. I'm Sahara McGirt. I'm the social media manager at stackup.org. Um, Today, we decided to do something a little different with GGP. For today's chat, I'm going to be talking about social media management and mainly curating your timeline, both as a social media manager and as as someone who's on social media and, how what are some steps you can be taking to be doing your social media um, and maintaining your mental health and, basically curating a space where it's comfortable for you and where social media is not like entirely this horrible place that, people are so often hung up on when it comes to social media. All right, so I've been first up, a little bit about myself. I've been a social media manager for like I'd say about 3-4 years now. I started doing social media management in college for a university club, and I was pretty good at it. When Stack Up was hiring, I jumped on it. They were looking for a social media manager, and I knew I had some of this experience, and I knew it was something I enjoyed and I was interested in. So I quickly just jumped on and threw in my resume and ended up being ended up getting chosen, which was great because I love Stack Up. They I was an air assault myself, so it was really great because I already had some of the passion for the mission. So I'd be able to speak to that while managing our social media. Um, Now I've been on social media for about 14 years. Actually, let me think. 15 years, yeah, because I started in high school back when MySpace was a thing. Now, if you were on MySpace back then, it was you could do all this fancy stuff. You could code your page, um, you could change your scroll bar. You could put all this music on there. It was really cool. You could do all this cool stuff to like, personalize your page. Um, and then there was Zynga. Zynga turned into like a gaming thing. And then let me see. YouTube or no YouTube. Yahoo. Yahoo had like some forums. And then it continued to like, oh, and then Facebook, of course. Facebook became a thing. And, after that was kind of like, it just kept going from there. About 10 years ago, I started up my own Twitter account, and then I have been on social media ever since. Um, and I would say that my journey on social media has been interesting. Uh, we I originally got on, um, and I'm gonna admit this. I originally got on to Twitter, well, Tumblr. I started out in Tumblr. I got onto Tumblr to look at once upon a time posts. So I started out on social media, like getting heavily into it 10 years ago, just to like look at posts for once upon a time. I was a fan of the show, and I ended up becoming a bigger fan to the point where I joined in on fandom. So yes, I have been part of stan culture. um, and like I started out on Tumblr. I had fun there. I also kind of got into some spaces on social media that are not savory. Like stan culture is known for being toxic, and it can be. That's true it can also be really wonderful because you meet some really cool people who are creating and making fan works. And it was both an amazing experience and that taught me a lot. It was also one of the experiences that taught me a lot because of bad things, you know. Stan culture, there's a little bit of an obsession with something, you know, so you're a fan of something and now you've decided to take it to a bigger extreme. And you know, people often get it, they put their whole hearts into it. That's why it gets like that. Some people get their whole hearts, they put it into a show or a movie, a game, and then they end up kind of pushing too far. So that's one of the things I really want to talk about today is, you know, when we're curating our timeline, we're putting together our social media, we're deciding what our presence is going to be. We need to start, you know, pushing to try to have a more positive presence. Not in a way that you're ignoring bad things in the world, but in a way that you're protecting your own mental health and, you know, being, you know, better about protecting other people's mental health, you know. But from there, you know, from fandom, I moved on to like, you know, just talking on social media with other people. In the Twitter space, you know, I would talk to celebrities and other people, writers, journalists, just a high variety of people, gamers, streamers, and, you know, just everyday people who are, you know, going about their daily lives. And, you know, we're all sharing our opinions. And, you know, I like that about social media. You know, you're able to make friends with somebody who's from Scotland or, you know, a guy from Louisiana, and you end up knowing them for like years on end. And, you know, so social media can be this wonderful place, but only if you make it so. So, I mean, to start with, let's go ahead and, you know, dive into it. I'm going to talk about a few things today. I'm going to talk about some social media do's for curating your timeline and some social media don'ts. These are things I generally give out to everyone, to let them know that, hey, you know, while you're on social media, it doesn't have to be terrible. It really doesn't. And I do believe that social media can be this great place. I think we just get so focused on the bad stuff that we, you know, end up giving up on it. So let's get started. So first off, my number one line is touch grass. I know we hear that and it can be a little offensive online. The thing is, if you're online all the time, you're gonna start perceiving the world in ways, in extremes that you don't need to feel. It's good to get offline. Go to a movie, go read a book, hang out with friends, hang out with family, just get outside, anything. You do need to do that once in a while. As much as, you know, social media can be exciting, it'll start to weigh on you. You're human beings were never meant to be online all the time and see as much as we're seeing, and we're constantly bombarded with stimulus from social media, and it's just a good idea to get offline. That's my number one. My next is curating your timeline. It's always a lot of people complain about not seeing what they want to see on social media, or getting certain types of posts, or always seeing bad things. But that, a lot of that comes down to you. If you are not consciously curating your timeline, social media is going to seem bad all the time. So you have to be deliberate. You got to think about it. You have to think about how you're interacting online. Um, so to start with, like, find your space, look for communities and other people who enjoy what you enjoy. Keyword is enjoy. Don't look for people that hate what you hate. Um, all you're gonna do is end up in a negative space where you are feeding off each other's negativity and you're driving each other to be more and more negative, and it's not going to help your mental health at all. You want to look for spaces where people are having fun and who enjoy the kinds of things you enjoy and can talk to you about stuff like that. Every now and then, your opinions are going to differ. Um, you really should not try to live in an echo chamber, but obviously you need to pick people who aren't going about expressing their joy of what you enjoy in a way that's extreme to a point where like they're getting pretty toxic about it. I have been in fandom spaces where people took their love of a show and pushed it a little too far. Even I pushed it a little too far sometimes. And I look back on that and I'm like, man, it was a big lesson learned. And there are some things I wish I could take back, but I have learned to be so much better about how I interact on social media, what I do, and who I interact with, So curating your timeline, you also want to like follow topics and people you like. There are people out there who go out and like hate follow people just so that they can keep an eye on them and comment on their stuff and just generally be a nuisance. If you catch yourself doing that, you might want to think, is this a healthy behavior? Don't do that. Just don't do that. But follow topics and people you enjoy. If there are people who are not bringing you joy, you gotta Marie Kondo them, sometimes. The thing about curating your timeline is sometimes you do have to unfollow people that you had good interactions with, but maybe they're posting stuff that's not so great for you. They might get mad about it. You need to be honest maybe sometimes, but it's really not their business why you unfollow. You can also mute people you follow on Twitter. Facebook lets you take a break. Instagram, that allows you to kind of leave and come back as well. So don't feel obligated to like keep following the same people just because you followed them once. Go through that timeline. You see stuff that you're not enjoying or that's not helping you with your mental health. Maybe someone you follow that's a friend keeps posting something that's triggering, or like that bothers you, and you can either try to talk to them about maybe putting content warnings, but you can also just take a moment, mute them or unfollow, come back later. Some people, they go through phases where all they post about is like a certain topic, and it can be a rough topic, and then you decide the thing is you get to decide what you see in your space, and I wish more people would take control of that. So do that. Another major thing about curating your timeline, especially on places like Facebook and Instagram and even Twitter, they will change based on how you interact with stuff. Same thing with TikTok too. If you are scrolling through these things and you're liking posts, and you start liking, maybe posts that are incendiary, or you're only commenting on posts where you're getting into arguments with everybody, This is where curating your timeline becomes a bigger deal, because if you are constantly only interacting with posts that make you angry, or topics that just throw you into a rage, and you're arguing with everybody in the comments, you are going to end up, that's all you're going to see. Social media and the algorithm often push content that they know you're going to keep interacting with. And if all you're interacting with is stuff that makes you angry, the algorithm is designed to keep you online. So it's going to push those things because it knows that that's what you're interacting with, you know. In all seriousness, like you gotta like know when to pull back. You know, you have to look at yourself and be like, before you get into an argument, you need to sit down, look at it and go, is this worth my time? You know, is this worth me engaging? You have to ask, like, is this going to make me feel better, or is this going to like continue to drive my algorithm into a place where this is all I see, this is all I'm doing online all day, you know? It's not good for you. I've been there. I used to argue online all the time. I don't do it now. Once in a while, maybe, if I know it's like a debate where we're not going to get angry, and or like it's a discussion where, you know, everyone is debating in good conscience. Yeah. But other than that, I try not to argue online. Okay, so, and another thing is trolls. There are some people online who their entire existence online is to get a rise out of other people. Trolls, sock puppets especially. What is a sock puppet? It's someone who is one person running like 10 accounts, and they go around and just troll people. Those sock puppets are they're not fun to interact with. You know, a lot of times, you know, you get in an argument with one sock puppet, you end up with another sock puppet coming at you. And then that other sock puppet, you know, is getting a rise out of you too. And it makes everything worse. You know, sock puppets are just there to like give you a bad day, you know. I personally, you know, I've seen sock puppets, like sock puppet accounts run by a single person, up to like 15 accounts that they were running. And I've been harassed by sock puppets that somebody was running, and they had like, you know, a good 10 accounts. You know, when I say I've seen, I mean like I went and I dug through their stuff, and you can usually tell somebody's sock puppets by similarities in their names and what they post and their bios, especially, but especially what they post. They'll have the same language, they'll all talk the same way, have very little differences in what they're writing or you know, putting online. So once you recognize a sock puppet, you know, you gotta note down like the people that are part of that, mute all of them, you know. But yeah, like if you get on Twitter and you're about to get in an argument with somebody, go check their followers, you know. Get on there, check their bio, look at their followers. If they have less than 100 followers, they might be a sock puppet. Especially, and this is the key, if all they post about is one specific thing, then that's targeted. At that point, you want to hurry up and just like mute that, block it, get away, you know. I'm very good at recognizing sock puppets at this point. I'll see somebody getting in an argument on my timeline and I'll go, sock puppet, you know, like I'll take a look and I'll tell them that too. There is no point in getting in an argument with a sock puppet, because the whole point of those accounts is to get a rise out of you and to make you angry and waste your time. and you shouldn't waste your time with that. You have so much better things to do. So yeah, get away from them, go find something else more positive. Don't let these jerks, run your life. Further on, use your safety tools. There's on Twitter, you can private, block, and mute. On Facebook, you can set your posts so that only certain people are seeing them. You can change your privacy so that either what you post is public or what you post is only visible by your friends. Use that. Instagram's got similar stuff. It even has that whole close friends thing so that only certain people can you see your stories. Use that as well. TikTok has some features that let you block people. Use them liberally, use them as often as you want. It's all up to you. There is no limit on how much people you can block at the moment, from what I know. I've haven't made it a goal to block as many people as possible, but if there are people online that are harassing you, bothering you, posting content you don't like, or content you just don't want to see, block that off, mute it. You don't have to see it. I personally I block anyone that, pushes an argument too far or just doesn't know when to quit or starts harassing someone that I'm following, and I don't want to interact with them, obviously. There's also yeah, well, you just use whatever tools you have. It's our space. Your social media is your space. Take control of it. Further on, let's see. There's some more stuff you can do as far as social media and curating your timeline. Obviously, interact with people you like. Do it often. You see somebody posting something you like, interact with them. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. Somebody posts a picture of them in a nice outfit. Compliment the outfit. Tell them they look good. They rock. Somebody did something cool. Tell them how awesome they are. Leave them a GIF reaction. Throw some emojis at them. Don't be weird about it, but interact in a way that's encourages other people to post, but also to encourages your algorithm to show you stuff that you are enjoying. And you got to think of it that way. When you interact with stuff you like, you are encouraging your algorithm to find more stuff like that, so that it shows it to you. So if you like Dragon Age or Mass Effect, and like a bunch of posts about Dragon Age and Mass Effect, you might get more posts about that coming onto your timeline. Facebook, join groups that you like. I have a favorite Facebook group called Architecture Shaming. It's one of my favorite pages ever. It's funny because people will post a really ugly house or really ugly building, but most of the people in there are actually being pretty complimentary of it. They will see the ugly house or they'll see something in it that they like, and they will compliment that. So, some people, people are making fun of it and having a good time, but other people, they're not, but it's not to a point where it's like a toxic extreme. Most of the people in there are just having fun, and then other people are talking about the merits of a design, because, it's all in the eye of the beholder. And that's something I like about that page. I like to interact with it often. And, it shows up on my timeline more often because of that. Do that. Interact with the good pages that are posting good stuff, and you will get more of it. So this is another one I talk about because I learned it specifically being in fandom spaces. Respect other people's boundaries online. If someone blocks you or decides they no longer want to interact, you respect that, you know. At the end of the day, we're all people. So sometimes you're going to get into a argument with somebody, or you're going to comment on somebody's stuff and it's not going to come off as nice, or, you know, somebody's going to, you know, say something to you because something you said was wrong. It happens. Respect it. If somebody blocks you, or if you were getting in an argument with somebody and you push it too far, and they decide to block you, respect that, you know. Social media is this place where everyone has access to each other. Unfortunately, that means sometimes some people build up entitlement towards someone, or you start to think that you're allowed to say certain things. And some people make it pretty clear you're not supposed to say those things to them, or they don't want to hear that kind of stuff. You should respect, you know, their boundaries. If somebody, especially if somebody has outlined things they don't want people saying to them in their comments, you know, it's just like every day in everyday life when we're out at the grocery store, or, you know, we're interacting with coworkers, or we're in person with other people, family members, you know, respect their boundaries, you know, respect what people, how other people want to be treated, you know. And online is no different than real life in that sense. You know, it's good for you to respect other people's space. And you know, trolls are going to be out there and they're going to disrespect your space. They're going to try to get around your blocks. They're going to try to get around your mutes. They're going to try to harass you. Don't let them do it. I already talked about going offline. Oh yeah, don't feed the trolls. Yeah, I've already said that, you know, but I'd like to reiterate it. Really don't feed the trolls. They just keep coming back. The more you feed them, the more they come back. Block them, mute them, go away. You're not losing anything by blocking a troll, especially in an argument. You are not losing a single thing. In fact, at that point, you're winning because now they can't bother you. Keep going. Doom scrolling. That's it. That's the next topic. So online, you know, you're on Twitter, you're on TikTok, Facebook. Something bad happens in the world. In fact, something bad happens in the world every single day. Honestly, on social media, because of how much we're all exposed to each other and how much we're able to pass information instantly, there is bad things happening every single day, all around the world. I mean, that's just the nature of it. Like, that's the planet. Something bad is happening somewhere. I'm not telling you to ignore the bad things. I'm telling you, don't doom scroll. Okay, so you get online, and something bad has just happened. A shooting, someone died, a celebrity died, that you really liked. A fire, you know, the reality is, as human beings, we were never, ever, ever meant to be exposed to this much disaster at once, you know. And online, it's every day. So you get on there, something bad's happen, get the vital info, get offline. Okay. If you see yourself, if you catch yourself on Twitter trying to like scroll through and find more information about a disaster, it is time to get offline. Because at that point, you are doom scrolling and you are only causing yourself more harm. You know, you are going through and you're looking on Twitter, you're looking on Facebook, you're looking on Instagram, TikTok, you know, you're looking for more bad info. It's time to get offline. It's time to, you know, turn off the computer, turn off your phone, put it down, go pet your cat, go touch grass, go outside. Remind yourself that, you know, it's not all bad out there. You have to remind yourself this because, like, there's always going to be another disaster. And if you can help, maybe retweet something about something that happened, or like retweet a GoFundMe about the disaster, or, donate some money, or, educate, then leave. Okay. Like, as much as, we try to be active and, help other people out, there's only so much you can do and only so much you can take as a person. So you need to know your limits, and you need to get offline when those limits are hit. You do not have to be there the whole time that something bad is happening, because all you're doing is hurting yourself. And what I like to tell people is, if you cannot help other people if all you're doing is hurting yourself, um, at the end of the day, you have to protect your own mental health, um, to keep yourself from getting into a dark place and falling into these depressions where you can't do anything good. The world it's a mess. And if you're trying to clean up every piece of the mess, you're just going to exhaust yourself and end up hating everything and not being able to, put good things generally into the world because you've become jaded, you know. So it's okay to get offline when bad things are happening. Um, you have to do what you need to protect your own mental state, you know. Um, and then, yeah. So, curating your own social media presence, as in what you're putting out, you know. I like to be a little more positive now. I was not always like that. I was actually kind of, I would start arguments with people because, at the time it made me feel good looking, but when I look back on it now, I feel terrible. Um, and there were times, I would feel terrible in the moment too, but I was in an angry state, and what I was putting out was not good. It was negative, and, I probably hurt people with my words. Um, no, I definitely did, but yeah, now I try to be more positive. I try to, build a space where people are enjoying things and talking about things they enjoy, while also, spreading some education about stuff, and, um, just trying to put some good into the world. I had to really step back and think about it and realize, um, the energy I was putting into the world was not energy I wanted to put into the world. We can't make the world better if we're destroying parts of it. We can only really make it better if we're like putting some good back into it. And you have to make that decision consciously. You have to decide that today you're going to talk about video games. If you're going to talk about politics, try to talk about it in an educational way that is informative, and also, isn't calling for destruction of everything. you know uh, Offer solutions. Politics is such a tricky subject because, right now things are not great. um, there's just so much, extreme passion behind everything, and that's the thing you have to recognize. Everyone is sharing a passion for something, online, and sometimes that passion can get a little too hot. you know that's okay, but you have to realize this all being online, and not take it too personally, but also, you know go through and figure out how you want to interact with that, because some people are taking it too far. But, also in that respect, there are people out there who are proposing dangerous ideas, and it's okay to push back against that without, adding on to your own mental stress and other people's. And I'm not talking about the people you're against. I'm talking about maybe someone who follows you and sees you putting this out, and then that energy follows energy. If you're putting out nothing but anger, the people around you see that and they're going to start putting out more anger. Try to think of yourself as someone, as especially if you have a lot of followers, think about what you're putting out and what you want other people putting out. um it's social media is this great big thing. It's in nearly everybody's life. Anybody that's online, you know you can it can be amazing. There's plenty of activism happening online, plenty of people um bringing awareness to stuff. Awareness has been a major thing that social media has allowed for, because people are able to share their stories, especially people who are minorities, such as Black and Indigenous POC, LGBTQ issues. I've been part of all of those things, and it's a good tool for those kinds of things. We just have to be conscious of what we're doing. I think we can all, create something amazing if we allow ourselves to. Um, it's all up to us. So that's all I have for curating your timeline and your social media presence. I do have a few more things. Oh yeah, social media management. Yeah. So as far as curating your timeline for as a social media manager, a lot of all those things I talked about can be applied to both your personal social media and your any accounts you manage. Hold on. Okay, so I'm real thirsty from talking. As far as curating your timeline for an account you manage, you want to follow accounts that are, going to be positive for the account that you're managing. I will say that when I got onto the Stack Up account and I was, started managing it, I noticed a few accounts we were following were a little iffy, or I don't know, somebody previously had done some followings where they just followed certain people that were doing follow backs, and I looked at the accounts and I was like, oh, these follow back accounts are posting stuff that it's a little bit nope. So I started unfollowing, and cleaned out that the following. It's good to do. That's something you should also do with your personal account. Every once in a while, go through and clean up who you're following, because people change over time. And what they post will change over time. Now, and then, make an effort to follow people that, bring some good to your timeline. You can do that on accounts you manage as well. And even if you interact with another account on your managed account that is in a positive way, you're going to want to keep seeing that person. So go ahead, follow them. Um, and don't feed the trolls, obviously, with your managed account. There are some cases where, you might be doing it to get that zinger in and, get those likes and everything. That's cool and everything, especially if you're shutting down someone who's trolling people. Um, but for the most part, obviously you're not going to want to start arguments on a managed account. That just doesn't look professional, You're going to want to like interact with people who are being positive in your comments. Because, those are the people that are going to keep coming back, especially if they're a fan. Um, Respecting others' boundaries, obviously if you're managing an account, you do not want to post something that can come off as creepy or uh, harassing towards someone that you're following or someone that you saw or want to interact with, yikes. If you're managing a professional account, you need to make sure that you are maintaining a professional image, or at least an image within the voice of the account you're managing, So, at Stack Up, I try to interact with streamers, veterans, and just people who are genuinely being positive or excited about charity and events and, video games, and especially our community. The Stack Up community is a great community of people from all walks of life who are just trying to, have a positive experience in this world. So it's always good to interact with them. And, it's one of my favorite things to do. And as far as curating our presence on social media, I try to, leave some positivity around and try to have some fun and, just generally post content where, we're doing good stuff because that's what Stack Up's doing every day, all day. We're doing good work. And it's also good for me to see it because there are days where it's a little bit long and I've done so much work. And it's good for me to see the results, putting good things into the world. And then, especially if you're managing an account that's like a nonprofit, it's good for everyone to see what good you're putting out there, and it's good for yourself. So do that. As far as, further on, like, the sock puppets and the bots, yeah, you're just gonna want to avoid those. Just keep them away from you. Yeah, and that's really all I have. As a social media manager, I can't I will say I do love social media as much as other people hate it. I don't I don't I don't take as negative of a view of it because I can see all the good things it can and has done. I just think that sometimes we get so focused on the bad things that we decide that social media is evil or that other people are evil because of how we've interacted with them on social media. And the truth is, all that comes down to us. We control who we interact with. We control our timelines. You do control that algorithm. You just have to put the effort into it and you have to be deliberate about it. I know some people are not going to like to hear that, but you need to like take control of your social media and curate your timeline. But that's all I have for today. So, thanks for listening if you're here. If you ever want to talk more about some social media tips and curating your timeline, I'm at Darth Saga Swag. Darth as in Darth Vader, Saga as in story, like SAGA, swag, SWAG. Okay. I am not at all doing that for more followers. I actually really like interacting with, people that are online with me. And, if you ever want to talk about anything, you want to learn more about some social media tips, you want to maybe just talk about video games and politics, or even um LGBT issues, indigenous issues, hit me up. But yeah, thank you for listening.